Hi, I'm Daniel. I am back to ranking Disney eras, and this is the Bronze Age, which is often referred to as the Dark Age for Disney. And Disney, Aristocats, the Iron Company. Disney almost shut down after the Black Cauldron during this era due to the small income from these movies. So don't expect the Renaissance ranking for at least another 6 months, as I won't want to rewatch 8 films for one video. It makes more sense to watch only one film for a video than just that. I hope to eventually get that video because it's an interesting series and the Renaissance practically guarantees views, but I don't have that much time. So, what are some of the worst, best, and average films from the 1970s and 80s for Walt Disney Animation Studios? 8. Oliver and Company. While I wasn't expecting a good movie, this was way worse than I remember for being uninteresting. Takes so long for things to happen and skips through things that could have been good. I don't care about most of the characters, like boring main character and boring second main character who is the cool one. This film is so cool. The only character who I like is the homeless guy having some moral depth. But death is the opposite of Oliver and Company. The rest of the dogs are one-dimensional, and there's Villain who is like every villain. Probably had more thoughts, but I can't remember all of it. If I get to the Renaissance, I'll take notes while watching these films. 7. The Rescuers. I didn't know if this or Ivan Company's worse, but I went with that because this has some interesting elements. But first, the story isn't good. 2. Beyond the mice characters, go so missing or the missing girl. Then part of the film are bored to sit through. Added onto by the mediocre character design. The villain is just the worst creator of the Ville as well. However, it manages a serious story and the action scenes are pretty good. It also takes advantage of the size with how small our main characters are. Something I would change is have the animals not be able to speak to humans and communicate visually instead. Crop was done in Ratatouille and other movies. A bad movie, and I can't see how I got an official sequel over anything else. 6. The Black Cauldron. So, this film is beyond mediocre. The story is just a journey on quest which have been told before many times. The Black Cauldron wants to be dark and over Disney but doesn't deserve it. It feels toned down and much more comedy, probably because it was poorly edited by Katzenberg. Animation is trying to use black outline on detailed background and it doesn't look good together. The characters don't look like they're standing on the ground here. The designs look like a forgettable Disney movie. However, the biggest problem is boring and interesting characters. Mainly the main character, who has or does very little. I know it's typical of Disney, but the princess should have been the main character and could have been fleshed out more easily. Third guy who comes with him is fine, but then follows the annoying sidekick. The Horned King, who is the only character I will name, is often called an underrated villain, but he has nothing. Sure, he is threatening, but still beyond that I prefer most twist villains. Somewhere there could have been an interesting step in the right direction with Disney, but it got ruined and almost bankrupted Disney. That's why Disney constantly tries to forget it, and it makes sense that that is now the legacy of the Black Cauldron. 5. The Aristocats. Now we are onto the average films that aren't bad but not good either. The meaning of average fits this film almost perfectly. There's things I like here, like how the animation style fits the type of story. Characters are fine, and some of the songs work well for what they are in the movie. However, there's not much to this film but a back home story with a weak villain. It drags on more than it should, especially the climax. The use of animals isn't that creative. After Yading the Tramp 100 more Dalmatians, both Aristocats and Oliver and Company used our set of animals in the city worse. This should be completely forgotten by most casual fans, but then Disney started merchandising the one with the pink bow, and now it's one of the more remembered Bronze Age films. I don't see why more recognition was given to this out of all films. Even something like the Black Cauldron or the package films would make more sense, because they're at least different. 4. The Fox and the Hound. I came into this rewatch with a weird feeling that I've become more of those Fox and the Hound defenders, and lucky I'm not. It is okay, but doesn't deserve to be seen as a cult classic or anything close, because it's not that interesting. I actually like the two owner characters and find the part of them interesting. The conflict of whether to give up the fox to save him, and the pettiness of the villain wanting revenge on one specific fox that barely did anything. The story takes itself seriously, but too much to the point that I think it's an extremely deep tragedy. It could have been emotional, but needed changes. Mainly, one character getting injured further divides the two main characters, but that character dying would leave a bigger impact. However, I echo the time skip happens early, unlike Bambi, leaving time for the actual important stuff to happen without being followed with fear. It has some great elements and definitely deserves to be in the upper half of this era, but it is nothing special. 3. Robin Hood. Finally, we're on to not just good movies, but great ones, like Robin Hood. It's no deep or complicated story, that's why this works so well, it's just events happening carried by the characters. It's not even that much of a single story, there's many different set pieces. Robin Hood the character is very funny and entertaining to watch, as well as the other characters like Little John, Friar Tuck, Maid Marian and Skippy getting screen time and personality. Prince John is how to do a pathetic villain well, because it works to show the incompetence of the royalty at the time, with power being the only strength they have. Songs are really good compared to other old Disney movies. The Phony King of England is like a song sung to mock the people in charge. Not in Nottingham sets up a sadder mood. Udiah is such a great song. This is just a fun film to watch, it's funny and it's enjoyable. Real gem of this era and it's only number 3. 2. The Great Mouse Detective. Due to budget issues, this film was shortened, but that actually improved it and made it a fast-paced adventure. It takes some time to get great, with the first 30 minutes or so being only okay. The rest of the film easily makes up for it. The overall plot and characters are great, causing this to be a standout of the era. There are so many scenes that just blow me away in how smart, climactic, or whatever it tries to be. Weakest part in my opinion is the whole choice of intervene, but even that could have been younger and so much worse. Also, there's little songs, but they're all great, especially Goodbye So Soon, I talked about in my top 10 best Disney villain songs video, from over a year ago. Time is going quick. Great Mouse Detective is great, and that's no mystery. 1. The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. This shouldn't work when it's just 3 or 5 Pooh stories stapled together that at the time already came out. Single story on its own isn't that amazing, but altogether with that ending it's superb. The stuff Robin leaving and growing up paired with that beautiful conversation is so sad. Despite Christopher Robin being a minor character here, the whole movie is building up to that, focusing on the simple things of being a kid. I think it's the closest movie so far in this era to be a masterpiece. Yes, the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh of all things. I really like the Winnie the Pooh franchise, even yes and no movies like Piggy's Big Movie. Of some of the 80 movies I prefer being more funny, this has the best story. The characters are great, it's a film I can't get enough of for being so incredible. That is why I had to put The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh as the best Bronze Age film. In conclusion, this is a tier list with 3 A tier, 2 C tier, and 3 D tier, so it's split right in the middle. There's no B tier, and this era is a place for forgotten movies. It is a yacht to watch all these movies, and I stopped watching them in release order, so that might have given me different perspective. I think it's definitely worse than the Golden Age and better than the Package Age. But I'm not sure about Silver. This has better films, but more in the C tier. Bronze Age is just yes interesting, which is why I'm going to put it below the Silver Age. I think it makes sense to have a gap between this and the Renaissance. Because this is like the first half of Disney and the Renaissance changes things. It also doesn't have age or era in the name, so I might need to change the thumbnail styling if I get to it. There'll still be other videos, like for example, I just did a studio ranking for Illumination, making of updated things, time where that video wasn't out. I hope you enjoyed this video, whether you agree with my ranking or not. The end.